Hell to hell, shoulder to shoulder. Our boo getting older. Right. Umi and I closer than we ever been. She taking medicine, I can't do no settling. Nah, I got an opportunity to touch it. Ball in my hands, I just gotta hit the bucket.
What's up, world? It's your boy Fresh the Legend. We're at the Live to Be Legendary podcast. Today's guest, a relic in the community, true pillar, leader, father, author, poet, life coach, community activist, many things. But the thing about him is he's been doing it for a long time. He's proven that he is about the people, about the community, 20 years strong. I'm honored to have him today. Give it up, y'all, for Will Latif Little. What's up, Will? Thanks for coming.
No problem, brother.
Appreciate you. In my intro, I was like calling you a relic. Like relic, you know, people don't know the relic is just like a historical figure or old artifact. So why I say that is because ever since I came outside, you've been somebody that I always seen leading something, organizing something, and just helping in some way. Whether in the community, whether in rec centers, whether in a barbershop. And I was like, you was always a barber, and I always seen people respect you, how they just looked at you, and everything you said, they listened to you when you spoke. So I just really want to say I'm glad you're here and I'm honored to have you, because we try to honor legends, and to me you're a legend, bro. So just want to tell you that.
I appreciate that.
No problem. So tell us, are you like originally from South Philly?
Well, I'm gonna say no, not originally from South Philly.
Okay.
I was born in North Carolina, and then my mom moved to South Philly when I was like 6 months years old. Yeah, so all my life.
But you've been down there a long time.
Yeah, I've been in Philly all my life, basically, but I was just born in North Carolina.
So somebody told me today, Motivate You, shout out my guy, 21 Philly, come on Philly. He was like, man, y'all be saying the P. He said, that's new. He said, man, we're downtown. You got the South Philly, then it's the P. He was like, man, Will, he from the old South Philly.
Right.
Like, so tell us about that. What they mean by the old South Philly, like.
Man, I guess the time, the culture, the morals, the values, and the principles was kind of slightly different back then. You know, and this level of respect, leadership. We had a little community back then. We had community, even though it's still violent stuff going on. But most of the younger men respect adults.
Okay.
And even if they didn't respect their own parents, they respect the parents of the block, because it was more community vibes there, where people on the block could beat you. If they seen you doing something wrong, and then tell your mom later on, your dad, then you get a second beating. So it was a village where everybody kind of just looked out for each other. We borrowed. I just put on a post on Facebook. Who remember borrowing stuff from your neighbors, like sugar, salt, milk, bread, stuff you didn't have, and people responded to that because it's something we can relate to growing up as kids when we didn't have it all. When we struggled together. And when you struggle with somebody, it's like prison. When you're in prison for a while, and you're struggling with the cellie or other inmates in there, you build a kind of connection or bond, right? That's everlasting. So same thing with the community. When you was like, I'm gonna support you, I'm gonna help you out. That was community about. So when we did that, you built relationships, and that's how friends became cousins.
South Philly's very friend, cousin,
right,
cliquey, small. So in this old South Philly, what was your part in it? Like, would you say was you always this positive guy? Was you always this, you had to become who you are, but everybody have a story.
Right, yeah. Initially I was a positive guy as a kid growing up. I had aspirations to be, officer, fireman, anything I thought that was something good in the community. But eventually, all those things changed as I began to get older. I had more experiences and not so good experiences. So I grew up in a single parent home, basically, with my mom and my 4 sisters. I was the only boy, so quite naturally, being the only boy in the house, sometimes having a young mother too, men take advantage of that.
Right.
So I grew up in a house of kind of domestics, and that's the reason why my mom moved away from my father, because of the domestic situation that made her move from North Carolina to Philadelphia. So just seeing that growing up and not being able to defend my mom or help her in some kind of way, or now having 4 sisters and knowing what's out there in the world as I'm growing up, because I'm like the youngest of. I'm like the next to the youngest of 4.
Okay.
So what's my position? I'm saying, as a young boy in the house, and not really knowing who you are, or having an identity, or having an image to look up to or betray, like a father provides that, right? I had to really try to find myself, you know, and that's where, for most of us, the identity crisis lies. That creates all the problems that we see in our community.
So, when I was younger, I remember like getting a book off you, a pamphlet about you, about your life. And I remember being so young, like this man, I can see him, I know where he at, and he has a book.
Right.
And it was a great book, and it helped me. It was, I forgot what it was called, but it was about
Life and Times of Will Little?
Yes.
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 My
Wow.
first book,
Yeah, it was tiny, right? Probably 50 pages, maybe.
No, it was like 200 pages.
Oh, was that 200?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. But I read it though.
Yeah.
And where did you get the courage to just? Oh yeah, real quick. And then also coming outside in the art scene, seeing you do poetry. I'm like, wait, oh my goodness.
Right.
Like jack of all trades, barber, coming to Tasker, seeing you cut. So I'm like, where did you get the neck and the? I'm gonna say because I kind of got that too, where I'm not the fearlessness. I'll say to be a poet, be a barber, and be an author.
Yeah, I had a young lady ask me that question on Facebook one time. She's asked me, how are you able to reinvent yourself so many different times, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it took courage, right? Because I grew up I'm an introvert by nature, right? I'm a quiet person, shy person, to myself a lot. But when, like I said, when I was in prison, you know, I got this epiphany about change, you know, because all the things I was doing on the street was definitely against my moral values and principles, right? You know, so being in that tragic situation, when I got the epiphany of change, is basically when my son was born, my first son was born. He was born when I was in jail. So, so to think about my life. I mean, really deep. I always thought about my life because I grew up like in church and stuff like that. So I always thought about life. I always thought about death. I always thought about purpose. These things as a kid, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. But it brought it back to reality when I got out that world that was just spinning and spinning in the streets, you know. So I had time to sit down and think about it. And then that's when I decided, like, dang, I wonder if I can change my life and do something different with it. And I wonder what that is. I was curious, you know, like Curious George was. So that kind of started off in that way to me become this person to express myself, right? And express myself with reason and purpose, opposed to just having conversations with people. You know, and that's why I think I developed the courage to start doing that. Once I didn't fear judgment of people.
I didn't fear judging the people. Okay, I like this. You didn't care what they would say.
Right.
You just got to get your message off.
Yeah, because most people, what they're thinking, they're already thinking it. You know, you can't change what the person thinking. You know.
So not to get on a negative level, but I seen on your Instagram, you know, the Fox News that interviewed you,
Right.
and it was about you being incarcerated. Only because you talked about you being incarcerated, and you being forgiven for that. So how do you? I think that's deep because by you being an author and a writer and becoming a leader, I think it was easier for you to be forgiven because you already shown that you are different. Real quick, I don't get off topic. I always say, like, I don't believe in like life sentences because I feel like everybody changes every 7 years, either worse or better. So you got to reevaluate every so many years. So like, I don't care what you did at 20, you're not the same at 40.
Right. So
to give somebody life, to me, it's just not right because you change. So back to what I was saying to you. I think you earned that forgiveness, but how did that make you feel when he did forgive you, and how was that experience?
Well, it was powerful. I mean, for real. And there was a lot of courage involved in it too. But initially, it was the aunt who forgave me, right? Who knew me as a kid. She knew me as a kid, 9, 10, 15, 12 years old. So she initially came around in the barbershop. I was in the front page of Daily News. And she read the story. And it's ironic too, right? She read the story, and she was married to a lifer in Rutherford, right? And this lifer was one of the guys that kind of mentored me when I started learning more about Arabic and Islam. So that kind of taught me Arabic. So I guess they were on the phone talking about it, and she showed him the paper. He must have the paper while he was in jail. So that's the guy who took my nephew life. And he was like, Will? And he was like, yeah. She said, go talk to him. He said, he's a good dude. Go talk to me, et cetera, et cetera. And that what gave her the idea to come talk because what she knew me as a kid was totally different when I was a teenager, right? And then what people may say about me or talk about me, in her mind, her perception probably was this guy just out here just reckless and everything else, right? And it took my nephew life. So I think that because of him, he gave her like the talk to go talk to me, and she came talk to me. I didn't actually acknowledge who she was or realize who she was because she had a full bark on her garb on. And when she said her name, then that kind of like, oh man, okay, now I know who this is, right? And then that's probably the first time I felt remorse for it.
I felt remorse for it.
Yeah. So and looking at that, like, damn, I appreciated that too as well, right? So she kind of told me like everybody was in agreement with her forgiving me too as well, right? So I kind of knew that. I knew he was out there. I know he always was wanting to get me planted revenge since day one, right? But we just never ran into each other because I did like 10 years in prison. And when I came home, I think he went to jail. So when he came home, people were saying that, you know, he out there, he outside, you know, he in the barbershop, and they come and tell me. But I didn't want to go out there because I didn't know what he looked like.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, I didn't want to know what he looked like. I didn't want to see him, you know, because my mind was on the straight positive route. I mean, and I don't recommend this for other people. Like I tell guys who ask me this question all the time, I don't recommend it for anybody else. But I just put my trust in the law, right? And continue to do the work I was doing. And then let things happen if it happens. And whatever way it goes, I mean, it's decreed. So if I have to go back to jail or I was going to the grave, either way, I mean, I wasn't going to be the initiator of things. You know, so, and that's how that came about with him. And when he came in, you know, I was in there by myself. And normally I don't come in the barbershop early in the morning.
He walked into the barbershop.
Yeah. But he'd been coming to the barbershop. I just didn't know.
But he knew who you were, you knew. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. He'd been coming to the barbershop. I just didn't know who he was. So when he came to the barbershop this day, I just happened to go to work this day early. I know he came at like 12 o'clock, but it was like 10 in the morning, probably like 9:30. And me and another barber was in there. Chuck, my man Chuck. Chuck went out to the store. He walked in. You know, so I'm looking at the mirrors. I'm playing the mirrors. So I'm like, I'll be with you in a minute. He's like, no, I want to talk to you. So I'm like, okay. Right.
You thinking he never cut me?
No, I'm thinking I probably cut his son hair. And he probably got some complaint about his son hair. So I'm thinking that. So I'm like, all right. I said, all right, give me a minute. He said, no, I didn't talk to you. So I knew he was serious. So I turned around, looked at him, and I walked over to him, like, well, what's up? And I stared him in the face, and he was like, I forgive you. Then I was like, hey, okay, now I know who this is. I mean, and I was like, alhamdulillah, I said, I appreciate that, bro. I mean, I shook his hand. You know, we gave a hug each other. And I looked in his eyes, and I seen he was serious. I mean, I seen he was, because I'm a good reader of people.
What made you, why do you think he forgave you? Like, why do you think he forgave you?
Well, I think of what he told me, he's like, he been following me a while, and watching me, stalking me and stuff like that too as well. But even in jail, he was talking about coming home and doing certain things to me, and people like, go talk to Will, cool dude. I mean, the guy in jail, when he came home, and then he has investigators too, like, yo, that nigga walk around, I mean, and you get your brother, all that, he had the investigators there, and they were still there to the moment, right? But I think him seeing that, and also, you know, like he said, he did some things too they need to be forgiven for. You know, and we talked for like an hour in the back of the barbershop, and I was like, you know what, this is a win-win. Right? I said, we need to look for more win-wins in our community. Right? And the thing is that it's a win-win because, one, you ain't come in, you ain't shoot me down or trying to kill me. You know, and if that happened, then somebody probably would have killed you, or if I would have lived, I would have probably killed you myself. Or and then I would have been in jail for the rest of my life, or you would have been in jail for the rest of your life. So it's a lose-lose situation in regards to how it goes.
No matter how it goes.
But we made it a win-win situation. And then once we had the conversation, I was like, well, let's do something with this. Let's put this message out there because it needs to be heard. A lot of murder going on around the time of 2015. So let's show people. Let's be the example. I mean that you can forgive, or if not forgive, even let go. Because forgiveness is the fact that he did. He was around me. We did stuff together. That's forgiveness, right? Letting go is like you're not stressed about it no more, or you're not worried about it. You go on with your life. But to forgive, that means like you can shake hands, we can be cool, we can hang out, we can laugh. I mean, this is what we're doing. So in practice, this was a real thing of forgiveness, you know. And when the Daily News got it, they put it out there first before Fox did. And then Fox said, we got to do a better story than Daily News. Wow. So the Daily News came, and Joyce, that's my second documentary I did with her. The first one I did with Poetry Emotion. You know, so the second documentary, she was like, well, let's do something really special with this, and let's get y'all two together, and let's let's go. I said, all right, we're going to schools. I was doing that already, so I invited him to go to schools. And he started liking that. He started liking, coming out, talking to the kids and talking to other young men about his story. I mean, so it became a beautiful thing. And at points, we didn't even realize what brought us together in those moments. What brought us together is a tragic death of his brother. But in those moments we were together, it was like we just grew up as friends.
It's like the story of somebody going to jail for something, but then people go to jail, they're going to war, but then they want to have being cellmates, and they got to figure it out together.
Well, you have time to communicate and conversate, and you have an intellectual conversation, right? Because conversation leads to confrontation because of envy, jealousy, anger, and frustration. But when you could be men and really discuss the hard conversations, try to work something out to the best advantage of both of us, then that leads to direction, peace, guidance. And that's the reason why I created an organization called RFP, Redemption, Forgiveness, Peace, right? So I was redemption, he was forgiveness, and my brother Chuck was peace because he was kind of a mediator between us two. When he was coming to the barbershop, he would always talk to Chuck. And Chuck would be like, I was cool, man, you let that go, y'all not that no more, y'all was young, they was young and it happened. So he kind of talked to him a little bit, coached him, became the voice of reason, which we need a lot in our community, right? And that led to the peaceful, harmonic movement of redemption, forgiveness.
So watch this.
Live to be Legendary is proudly sponsored by Philly Real Estate Services and Solutions. Are you a Philadelphia landlord in need of expert landlord-tenant services? Look no further. Philly Real Estate Services and Solutions is here to represent you in landlord-tenant court, ensuring a smooth and hassle-free experience. Give them a call at 610-235-7998. Again, the number is 610-235-7998.